Revelation 21:5, he who is seated on the throne said, I am making everything new. So we're in a significant time of change here at Hesston College. I actually am kind of a weird person because I enjoy change. I enjoy being a change agent. I enjoy being a part of making things new and renewal. So I've enjoyed my time at Hesston so far. You could say that I came over to the good side because I was working at Tabor College before this. I wised up. So my job is in enrollment management, so part of my job and part of my place in making things new is to spur on growth. And I've got some exciting news with growth to share with y'all. So we just had our largest incoming class in really kind of you could say recorded history or digital history, because as far as I can go back in any kind of electronic records, I can't find a larger class than the one that just came into Hesston College, 234 new students. That represents a 21% increase in overall enrollment. So last year we had 308 total students enrolled. This year we have 372, and that's the largest single year increase in 15 years or longer. But 15 years is as far back as I can see. So that's an exciting thing. There's been a lot of change, some bad, some good, some change that's just changed in this last year. But to be able to see students and families and employees respond to those changes the way that we have has been inspiring, to say the least. A few other highlights from that class. So 17% of our population this year is international students. So we have 64 international students enrolled at Hesston College. That is the highest number, or it ties the highest number since 2013. So that's been fantastic to see that happen and see people lean into that special part of our college. 209 freshmen enrolled is our largest class since 2012. Our bachelor's programs are thriving. Particular highlight, aviation has 42 students enrolled.
Wow.
That is the largest enrollment number in aviation since 2012, or you could say recorded electronic history. So I guess maybe I would leave you with this. Our theme verse is in Revelation. Again, he who is seated on the throne said, I'm making everything new. I'm going to put Michael Smalley, give him a little bit of credit. He's our Vice President of Student Life. And in our last administrative council meeting, he shared a verse that it really just kind of blew me away, and it summed up a lot of the last year here at Hesston College. And it's also in Revelation. So Revelation 2:19. I know all the things you do. I have seen your love, your faith, your service, and your patient endurance. And I can see your constant improvement in all these things. The part that really struck me in that and I think God was just touching my heart when Michael had shared that in our meeting, was patient endurance. That it's just such a pairing of words that struck me as something that I've never actually thought about a whole lot. We get put in positions or have opportunities that take endurance. You know, in the book of James, you know, they talk about endurance, you know, perseverance, becoming whole and complete. But patient endurance, that's the mindset that you have when you're going into something that you know you're going to have to endure. Change is difficult. And especially if our attitudes and our spirits aren't in the right place, it's even more difficult. And that's something that it challenges me, but it also inspires me, because all the folks around me that I work with embody that patient endurance. And it's just fantastic to see how everyone's really come together. We have such tremendous momentum right now. The students are having fantastic experience. Our opening weekend was awesome. It's just great to see these things happen, and I can really feel God's blessing on Hesston College. So thank you for letting me share. It's an honor to be here and a privilege to be able to share with you. Thanks.
Hello and welcome again. I am Lisa Hostetler-Longacre. I am the Acting Vice President of Advancement. I actually live in Colorado and work here, so I have what I say is the best of both worlds and get to enjoy my time here on campus. I come back about once a month, and it's fun to be here this weekend. I want to welcome all of you to our Golden Gables lunch. We have, I'll just kind of point out the classes that we have here. We have our most senior class sitting in these two tables here. They are from the class of 1954 in Academy, so they are celebrating their 70th high school reunion. And then we have the Academy 1964, is it two tables? Okay, two tables of 1964, thank you. And then we have our newbies. We have the class of 1974 who is celebrating their 50th class reunion. So welcome, you finally made it to Golden Gables. So welcome to all of you, whether you're here celebrating a reunion or not. We have others in the room who are celebrating other years that don't happen to be a reunion on the 10th. On the 10-year. And so what we're doing now with our 5-year reunions, we used to have, you know, all the reunions, 20, 25. And during COVID, we had, actually my reunion, my 30-year reunion was in 2020. And so we had it online, and we didn't even have homecoming. And that was such a fun way. I think Phyllis Weaver, standing back there in the back, actually welcomed me to my class reunion online, which was a new way to do it. And so we thought, why don't we do that for the 5-year reunions? So if your graduation year ends in a 9, you will have a virtual reunion this year to celebrate. And that's really fun. You get online, you know, you've all done it. You get on Zoom and get to talk to your classmates that way. So that's a fun way to enable people, especially people from really far away, all over the world. We've had people on those reunions from Japan and just all over the world, so that's a lot of fun. And next, I would like to ask Keegan Lefevre to come up. Keegan is here to talk about Everence. Everence is a preferred partner. So Keegan is also an alum of Hesston College. He graduated in 2016. He was on the tennis team. He was a Bill, if you guys remember the Bills and Normas. and he was an RA, and his parents met here. Jen Friesen Lefevre and Dennis Lefevre met here. So he comes from a long line, and both Jen and his grandfather, who you might know, Paul Friesen, worked here for each over 2 decades, is that right? 22 apiece. And so Keegan comes well qualified to speak about Hesston College and our partnership with with Everence. So thank you, Keegan.
Thank you very much. An honor to be in front of all of you guys, several familiar faces, so thank you for having me here today. I'm here on behalf of Everence. Just down the road, there are Everence offices throughout all of the United States, but I work out of our North Newton office and have been there for 5 years now. And we very much appreciate our preferred partnership with Hesston College. What that allows us to do is to engage with folks like yourselves to help with your financial journey and your stewardship journey as well. And so ways that we help our clients benefit places that they really want to give generously to, like Hesston College, like their church, like other charitable organizations, is we help that through donor advice funds, donating certain assets to those, through charitable trusts, through gift annuities, as well as health insurance investments and whatnot. So it's just nice for us to be here to help celebrate with all of you guys and with Hesston College. So if you got any questions, I'll be here after the luncheon here to help answer any questions. But thank you everybody for coming, and excited to hear about the history of theater. My sister was a phenomenal performer. I didn't get those genes, my sister did. So, but yeah, thank you very much for having us here today.
In the 1930s, a woman from Protection, Kansas came to Hesston. Her name was Ursula Miller. And one of the things that she began to do over the years was write a lot of poetry. And one was a poem called "To Hesston College in the Heart of the Nation, with faith flaming strong was the answer to vision and prayer," which was then set to an Irish folk tune and became the alma mater. I'm not exactly sure when it was written, but by the time it was, by the 1940s, it was commonly used as the alma mater. So we're going to sing that today. And then in the 1950s, it seemed that was a bit too old-fashioned and that we needed a fight song. So if you look in the history of Hesston College, the first 50 years by Mary Miller, A Pillar of Cloud. In the back is the Hesston College fight song with music by Paul Yoder, who was the music director at the time, and Marilyn Kaufman, daughter of Milo Kaufman. Marilyn Kaufman Miller wrote the words. And so we are going to sing for you in the heart of the nation. We would invite you to sing along on verses 1 and 3. You have napkins. I'm sorry you don't have tissues. I'm sorry to tear up a little bit, but you sing on 1 and 3, and then we'll sing the Hesston College fight song, which you may not know we had one.
Yeah. and submission to holy decree. Yield spiritual riches and wisdom unpriced, to his glory our college shall be. In the heart of the tawny and burnished faith, flows the answer to prayer and to dreams, and the gladsome caresses with soft golden hands, where the spirit of holiness leads. In my yearning and dreaming, dear star, Hesston College is calling to me. Oh, dear alma mater, enshrined in my heart, I pledge my devotion to Onward, let us go. Mighty progress we will show, praying that we all shall see that the truth shall make you free. We have spirit, we have zeal, we have vision that is real. Firm the rock we build upon, Hesston College will live on. Forward, forward, for the right, toward the goal we have in sight. Working so we all shall see that the truth shall make you free. We have spirit, we have zeal, we have vision that is real. Firm the rock we build upon, Hesston College will live on. Lean on, let us go. Faith and courage we will show. Maybe so we all shall see that the truth shall make you free. Fight, fight, fight! We have spirit, we have zeal, we have vision that is real. Firm the rock we build upon, Hesston College will live on.
When Ken asked me yesterday if I knew that we had a fight song, I had to say I did not know that. That was kind of surprising, that fight, fight, fight. It's very, very Mennonite. So thank you to Bel Canto. We love our Bel Canto students and the choir, the music they provide. Thank you so much. This weekend, we are kind of highlighting our creativity. If you were in formation, you heard our art professor, Josh Cross, talk about that in a beautiful way. And so we decided to have our program for you today feature the history of theater at Hesston College. And we have 4 people who have worked very hard to put together a wonderful presentation for us. And that they are Howard Keim, former president of Hesston College, Jim Yoder, former professor, chemistry professor, Rachel Jantzi, who is our current theater professor, and we have Margaret Wiebe, our retired librarian, and they worked hard to put on a beautiful show for you today, so please help us welcome them.
Thank you. We look forward to this. We have enjoyed the work together as we prepared this. And you have on your tables a playbill. Each of you should have a playbill that has lists in it that will help you to kind of follow along with the history as we share it today. And some of you might remember things that we did not catch. We did fairly thorough work, especially Margaret with the archives. but we may have missed some things, or we may have some things to be correcting, and so we welcome that. Please get that information to us as you notice it. We'd also like to thank the advancement team for putting this time together for us, especially Lisa and Leslie, and in marketing, Sarah and Larry and Mackenzie, and also Russell, Adrian, working with the sound today is really helpful. And especially we'd like to thank the people that we interviewed. We called former directors and students, and they've been most helpful in sharing some of their experience with us. So today we're going to do this as in the form of a play, or with the structure of a play. There will be Act 1, which sets the stage, and then there will be Act 2, which thickens the plot, and then there will be Act 3, where everything comes together. And we're both, as plays go, we're doing this somewhat chronologically and somewhat thematically. You'll notice that in plays that you attend, that they tend to meld those two together. So first, Dr. Jim Yoder with setting the stage, and as he comes, I'll share a bit of an anecdote. In 1971, Jim and I acted together in JV. Many years later, in 2014, we acted together in our town, and we're still acting together.
So, Act 1, setting the stage, the beginnings. From the very beginning, Hesston College, the fine arts play a key role in the Hesston College curriculum. Now, as you know, music was integral from the start, as we were reminded last year at the Golden Gables luncheon with Ken Rogers. Somewhat later, as we shall see, theater gradually became integrated into the Hesston experience, and then eventually the visual arts. These fine arts have long histories of being integrated into the liberal arts curriculum at Hesston College. Now, to go back as far as we could, we scrounged around in Pillar of Cloud, you know the book by Mary Miller, and to find early instances of drama and theater at Hesston College. Pillar of Cloud lists in the index as early as 1943, some 80-some years ago, the names of students playing the role of Scrooge in the annual Christmas production of that drama. Then also from Pillar of Cloud, quoting, in the 1940s, the speech class, to promote campus courtesy, produced and gave a play, The Hick of Hampton College. And to show the effectiveness of returning good for evil, the class gave a peace play, The Friendly Kingdom. And again from Pillar of Cloud, in 1956, the first Forensics Council, under the direction of Wanda Lee Weaver, gave at least one major play annually. We could not find any direct lists of any of those productions, but that was quoted from Pillar of Cloud. And you know, Wanda Lee Weaver was one of the great clan of weavers that have used their talents to support Hesston College over these many years and have gone on to enrich the college, the community, the Mennonite Church as a whole, and indeed around the world. Now, quite possibly, the inaugural production of an annual all-school theater drama was the December 1961 production of Our Town. Our Town has been produced several times here at Hesston College. This was in December '61, with sophomore yours truly as stage manager, and directed by Catherine Snyder, while Irma Yost directed the third act as part of her degree program at Wichita State University. And that was an interesting juxtaposition of directors, I must say.
Where are we? There we are, okay. And there I am, okay.
In the 60s, then, Hesston College brought professionally trained Arlo Casper on campus. He's the one who became the legendary longtime theater prof at Bethel College. But he directed such plays as The Miracle Worker, 12 Angry Jurors, Chalk Garden during the 60s here at Hesston College. Maturing rapidly, theater at Hesston College in 1971 undertook, under the directorship of Dwayne Stutzman, the ambitious Hess Hall staging of the modern story of Job. Howard referenced that a bit. J.B., an Archibald McLeish drama that had won several Broadway accolades, including the 1959 Tony Award for Best Play and the 1959 Pulitzer Prize for Drama. Now, the Hesston College production starred students Howard Keim, Don Timer, Patricia Brunk, and faculty member Jim Yoder. Now, Howard played the role of Zeus, God, and I played the role of Mr. Nichols, the devil. And my understanding is that Howard would have preferred my role, but he accepted the one that he did. He says I made a better devil than he would have. I still remember, I can hear it, at the beginning of the play, the words from on high, literally, from Howard, "Whence comest thou?" And then the reply, "From going to and fro in the earth and from walking up and down in it." And on the story of Job in the modern context was displayed. And later on in the show, Mr. Nichols says, "I heard upon his dry dung heap that man cry out who cannot sleep. If God is God, he is not good. If God is good, he is not God. Take the even, take the odd. I would not sleep here if I could. I would not sleep here if I could, except for the green leaves in the wood and the wind on the water." That still sort of sends chills up and down my spine as I think of that. Other productions of that era, dealing with significant and timeless themes, included the Jerry Lickney-directed plays The Glass Menagerie and The Third Carnival. And Hesston College produced musicals Jesus Christ Superstar and Man of La Mancha with their Bob Huston. Clearly, as a serious and significant component of liberal arts education, theater was being integrated into the life and tapestry of Hesston College. Now, perhaps beginning with J.B., Hesston College has had a tradition of involving faculty and staff as cast members in the theater productions. Certainly in the lavish production of Man of La Mancha, under the direction of Bob Hustetler, involved numerous faculty acting and singing, along with the students who sang and performed as well. Faculty from all parts of the curriculum since that time and on people from faculty and staff from math and science, social science, humanities, religion, administration, librarian, athletics, business office, performed in Hesston College Theater. Speaking for myself, and maybe for some of these others, at least in retrospect, theater became very integral to my continuing education, enhancing all aspects of my teaching career. I'm not professionally trained in theater or in the humanities, but drama has fostered creativity, imagination, deliberation, moral reasoning, helping me to understand ever more fully what it means to be human and to know more fully the way a person should be. This kind of significant augmentation of the Hesston College experience, student and faculty interaction, articulating on stage profound issues of all time, has been and continues to be truly remarkable. And that tradition continues in the production of Antigone this weekend. I think it's remarkable and significant. Say that again. So, Act 1, exit stage right. Again, clearly, as a serious and significant component of a liberal arts education, theater was being integrated into the life and tapestry of Hesston College. Note, there will not be a 10-minute intermission as we move to Act 2.
There are many more stories that we could tell, and I'll add one to what Jim shared. It's back to JV again, but it's just illustrative of how theater affects those participating in it. I remember when I, in particular, and Don Clymer to some extent, were having difficulties really getting into our roles and understanding what was going on. And so Jim suggested we just sit down and talk about it. So Dwayne Stutzman and Don and Jim and I devoured 2 large pizzas, which were really large at the time, at about 10:30 at night, sitting on the stage. And that was a turning point for us. And it was a turning point for me personally as well. The relationship that illustrates, as well as understanding the concepts and putting my life together with a biblical drama was a really formative and important time for me. Theater continued to grow at Hesston College in the late 70s and on to the present. And that growth, at least in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, was parallel to other Mennonite colleges and other universities across the country. Drama was welcomed in our churches and at our church conferences. People like Roberta Yoder, Lauren Friesen, Roy Humble, others were actually commissioned to write and direct dramas at church-wide conferences. And many of the theaters that are still in use today were actually built in the 70s and 80s. It was a rich time for us. The growth at Hesston College can really be attributed to the wonderful faculty that we had along with the students. The early, Robert Hofstetter has been referred to already, following Robert Egla Birmingham and then Al Schnupp and Joy Goldsmith kind of set the stage in terms of their expectations of high quality, their willingness to tackle important issues, and their high level of creativity. And it struck me that I've done a bit of research on my own, and I've had a couple of interviews. If you Google Robert Hofstetter, or you Google Egla Birmingham or Al Schnupp, you will see the enormous body of work that these people have produced in the times that they left Hesston College. They got their start here. You literally do start here and go everywhere. But their accomplishments are amazing, and they've set the stage for others who came after them. And in those early years, and even to some extent up to the present, the directors did it all. They not only cast and directed the show, they did the set design, they did the lighting design, they helped to build, they did the costuming, the makeup, the publicity, plus they were teaching in the general education curriculum, in addition to teaching a few theater courses. 14-hour days were not uncommon. And sometimes in the heat now, when you're in a production week, 14 days are still not uncommon. Directors literally did it all and did amazing work in those years. And later on, the college began to, here you see Mousetrap directed by Al Schnupp. Some of you might recognize that picture from other publicity things that you've seen later in his career. And I'm going to mention another, actually, back up. We'll go with this now. Did not ask Jim's permission to use his likeness here, but during this period of time, there was a lot of integration of the fine arts with the college curriculum as a whole, and seen as an integral part of the liberal arts curriculum. And Jim had as much to do with that as anyone. He was academic dean during most of those years. And during that time, he also was instrumental in helping to begin the Hesston Performing Arts program, as well as the Paul Friesen collection of art. And if you step inside the library now, look over to the left a bit, you'll see the Paul Solder piece. That was the inaugural piece of that art collection. Later on, the college began to hire technical directors to assist with that kind of work. And this is These Shining Lives that was designed by Doug Peters. Notice the gear shape in the back. The set had a lot of kind of gear-shaped objects that symbolized a lot of what was happening in the action of the play. This is Frog and Toad. Beautiful, beautiful set, also designed by Doug Peters. In the early years also, in terms of places, you might look at the venues that we have in the playbill. Plays were produced in the administration building, in Hess Hall, in Mary Miller Auditorium. Al Schnupp developed a little theater in the lower level of North Lawn, about where the miniature classroom is right now. That space had a number of challenges, including low ceiling. Later on, it developed mold issues, and theater began to be produced in a variety of other spaces. And those other spaces present both challenge and opportunity, and the challenges actually begin to outweigh the opportunities over a period of time when you're always using found spaces to produce your shows, and you have to move a lot of equipment in order to accomplish it. And so the development of the Black Box Theater in the Keim Center is now the primary space for theatrical productions, and you'll see Antigone there tonight or tomorrow night or Sunday afternoon. Opening night was last night. This is from Big Fish, also designed by Doug Peters, but it was one of the early shows there in that Black Box space. It's a wonderful, flexible space that we now have. In the playbill, you'll also notice the variety of literature that has been used in theatrical productions. But all the way along, directors have chosen plays that address important issues. So here we have a slide of Fiddler on the Roof, which many have dubbed the most popular Mennonite musical of all time. We like this show, and I think part of the reason for that is there are family themes in it, and there's also, of course, the theme of being displaced, forced immigration, if you will. We have that in our history, and we can identify with Tevye and his family in this show. And here again, we have a lot of collaboration between faculty and students The title role of Tevye was played by Anthony Brown, who many of us will remember, who has recently passed away far too soon. And our director was Mary Ann Martin during that time. I believe that Mary Ann Martin was actually the longest serving director here at Hesston College. We also, in more recent years, Laura Crable directed Dead Man Walking, which really took a hard and close look at the view of capital punishment through the eyes of the family and the social worker, the person walking alongside the person who was to be executed. It's a fascinating and very powerful show. So the emphasis here, while some of our graduates have gone on to make a living doing professional theater, the emphasis has always been on educational theater, as seeing it as part of a whole, as integrating it into the whole life of the college, and creating experiences that can carry with people throughout their lives. If you notice on the name of the Keim Center, that's actually my name on that building. The interesting story about that, or one of the interesting stories, is that when the board presented this possibility to me, I asked a couple of things. One is that we not put that name on the building while I was still president. I just did not think that was a good idea. The other thing is that I specifically asked that it be called the Keim Center for Performing Arts Education. I wanted the word education in that title. It's important to me because it's important to everyone who has worked in theater here at Hesston College over these many decades, that this is part of the formation of a person and part of the formation of a community to be involved in this kind of work. So now we're going to move along to Act 3. I'm not exiting stage right. I'm going to stay on for this. But Rachel is going to enter. And we'll try to tie this together a bit in terms of why does it matter? Why does theater matter? What makes it important? I got this line from Al Schnuck as I was talking with him on the phone. He said, a liberal arts curriculum without fine arts is kind of like the Bible without the Psalms. Think about that a moment. When we have these important times of life, we turn to art, we turn to music, we turn to poetry. At funerals, this is what we do. At the birth of children, this is what we do. At baptisms, this is what we do. This is where we turn. This is where we turn at really important times of life. And so I'm going to share just give a couple of ideas around this why it matters that we've thought through together as a presenting group. And Rachel will elaborate on them and then also illustrate with Antigone, which is our current show. So first of all, as we've talked together, we've said that theater is affected by culture, and theater also influences culture. Could you say a bit more about that and how we see that in Antigone?
I'm a little shorter. To start, I am Rachel Jantzi. I have worked at college since 2010, and I have been the director of theater since 2015, so for a while now. And I see theater just in general, and then I'll tie this to Antigone. Theater always encompasses themes that have been ageless, themes of, and global, of love, betrayal, marriage, death, birth, war. I just think of World War II rather, Biloxi Blues, Neil Simon's comedy. Yes, there's a comedy around World War II. All My Sons, the drama by Arthur Miller. Cabaret, the musical. Wars alone have fostered, you know, Miss Saigon the musical, or Rodgers and Hammerstein's South Pacific. These are massive cultural movements. The Berlin Wall in the 90s was a play, a second in the series of the Iron Curtain trilogy. I remember that well because that happened my sophomore year when the wall came down. The 47th review is happening right now. It's a Shakespearean satire with Trump and Harris debates at the forefront. So, a mirror and a reflection of society. That's what theater is. Most recently at Hesston, Lord Crable, who you saw up there, did a production of Green Card that I helped costume. And it dealt with immigration. Shining Lives is one that I directed, the one with the gears. It was it was the first show that I directed here within this role. And it had to do with the beginning of what are now the current OSHA standards. And that was begun by a group of women. But we talk about tonight, Antigone. And that is a Greek drama that was written in 441 BC. The version we're doing was rewritten in 1944 by Jean-Henri, and he took the ideas that Sophocles talked about, and he brings them into the 1944 conversation having to do with the Nazi occupation that was currently happening at the time in France. I am moving it forward into now, because these are problems that are still relevant. Wars, tyrannical leaders, abuse of power, and those are themes that just happen to be coming up. It also deals with burial rights and war, brother on brother, and it seems rather relevant in this time.
Another thing that we often talk about, and we talk about this in various ways as we were working this through, is the ways in which theater helps us to develop empathy. And Laura Crable spoke to that rather eloquently in her interview with you. But how do we see that in particular in Antigone?
Again, I keep starting broad and then working into Antigone. Empathy is the literal walking in another's shoes, and there's nothing more literal than, theater does that rather literally. Students rehearsing and learning and imagining what it would be like to lose someone or to go through a tragedy or a triumph. So specifically in Antigone, I'm gonna call out a couple of characters. Ismene, for example, played by Chloe over there, pleading with her sister to not go through what she's about to go through. I'm not going to give it away. But I remember the actress herself talking about her relationship with her own sibling and kind of drawing on that to kind of bring power to her character. Antigone, this sense of duty and responsibility and obligation to others, and Caroline is our Antigone, featured right there in the middle. And simply having this role was taking on a responsibility, a huge duty, and an obligation. And she has fulfilled that role beautifully, much like Antigone does, but a little more tragically than what you've done. The character of Haman, played by Christian Ryan, that character feels pushed away by both the woman he loves and also his father's decisions. And the actor has talked about that sense of him pulling away from his own. We're empathic. What can I say? Pulling away from his own father or others who have pulled away from him as a way to understand the pain of Haman. And we do it very safely. We have these conversations very gently, but they also bring the humanity to the roles that you will see this weekend.
And this third theme is a little different. It tends to be a little more on the practical side, but it's something that I think is really important as well, that theater offers a laboratory to learn life skills that can be taken with us in any occupation.
Indeed. So, I mean, I've also been I've worked in business. I was a preschool teacher. That's a whole different kind of business. And worked in real, in clothing. And all of the skills that I gained in theater, I have used throughout my life. But these skills are the discipline of simply learning lines. And the amount of discipline that takes to get those down. Taking direction, checking your ego at the door, and yet at the same time still being able to be heard. Finding your voice, literally and figuratively, but being able to speak clearly and enunciate and be heard at the back of the room. Thank you. Collaboration and teamwork is at the heart of theater, and truly one of the things that I try to push more than anything, push collaboration. Holding yourself with confidence, learning how to walk into a room. One of the things I talk to my actors about in Acting 1 is taking up space. You deserve space. You deserve to have a space here and to be heard, to physically be seen and to be heard. Take up space. Don't apologize for your existence. Sewing on a button. Threading a sewing machine. Using power tools. An impact driver, am I right? Painting. Building. Cleaning up. That's a big one. For Antigone, going back to learning those lines, there is a 15 to 17 page scene that is only 2 people. 15 to 17 pages. And it goes like that because it is so beautifully done. And those actors, I could not do it anymore. This can't do that anymore. But that is going to help them as they progress through life. One of them is an aviation major, so hopefully if he can learn that, he can learn to fly a plane. Here's hoping. Okay. Legging platforms, putting legs on the platforms, and having copious amounts of stone being moved from a trailer into the theater. When you see the show, you will see the amount of stonework that is all over the set. That was carried in by us. We didn't have experts coming in to carry massive amounts of stone, all supplied by Russell Adrian's farm. Weird. And then just the amount of history that they've learned and things that they are required to look up. If they don't know what a word means, look it up. Just the discipline that comes with that. Understanding beginnings and endings. When students work in a transient art, something that cannot last, they learn to understand creating something and then being okay with letting it go. And that is a huge lesson.
And the last theme that we talked about, there could be more, but this is especially important to a place like Hesston College, that theater creates community.
You're seeing it here. You're seeing it here right now with these wonderful students creating art together. And what you don't see is like at 11 o'clock when they're done with rehearsal and they're saying how tired they are, and yet they all hop in their cars and they still are able to go to Drupers, or going to Sonic, or hanging out in the lobby of Keim, where there's some have permanent rear end prints in the chairs there where they have claimed. They never leave because they have created a home away from home. It is impossible not to build a community when you're creating something from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every night. or 10 p.m. or whenever we happen to get done with my notes. It's hard to not create community when you're taking courses like stage makeup and intro to theater design and acting 1 and acting 2 and directing together, which allows and opens up for so much vulnerability. Antigone is a play of conflict created by a community. And I want to, if we could, I'd like to introduce.
Yes.
I'd like to introduce the players of that play. So at the center of the play, we have Antigone, and if you'll stand, played by Caroline Miller. She is our main protagonist, and our awful antagonist. He's wonderful. The antagonist is awful. Is King Creon, played by the lovely and wonderful Josh Fleming, who is nothing like his character, thank goodness. We have Ismeni's lover, Haman, played by Christian Ryan. And Antigone's lover, Haman. Who did I say? Ew, sorry. That's the sister. Antigone's lover, Haman, played by Christian Ryan. Okay. And then we have Ismeni, the sister of Antigone, played by Chloe Robinson. Okay. Family. Then we have Eurydice, the queen, Creon's queen, who I fashioned after a political figure of recent. I don't think the students know that. But that is Ava. Ava, please say your last name. Quinn.
Close enough.
Close enough. I try. I really do. I honestly keep trying. I don't have the, yeah. Jamie Crable plays guard 2. And then guard 3 is played by Evelyn Gardner, she's in Bell, but she is no longer in here. She's not a theater scholar, but we were lucky enough to have her audition. And then guard 1 is played by Jose Gloria, who is, to tie it back to faculty and staff joining, Jose Gloria is our campus counselor. And it's been really nice having a campus counselor involved with this show, I can tell you. But he's been wonderful and he loves working with the kids. Carrying on, we have the chorus, because you can't have a Greek tragedy without a chorus. Our chorus is played by Anya Martinez. And then a very important role, somewhat silent throughout the show. I have her as the camera operator, but she acts as the eye of the audience. And that is the messenger, played by Kirsten Pauley. Yeah. There you go. And then we have the caretaker of Ismeni and Antigone, who acted as their mother, the nurse, played by Desiree Rodriguez. Now, did I hit all the cast members? I will feel awful if I... And then the most important person to me, not gonna lie, because they're the one that keeps me on track, keeps me on time, and keeps me in shape, is my stage manager, Sam Satiawan. And, and when once the show the rehearsals are done, it becomes his show. I turn it over and he calls the show. So the light cues, the sound cues, getting the actors up to the stage, all on him. So, thank you to those. To wrap up with this idea of community on my end, another way you're seeing it is that production that he talked about earlier, that 2014 production that he and Jim did of Our Town. Margaret and I were also in that production, so all 4 of us have been on stage together. I have directed both of these young people over here and have really enjoyed it. And I have created a very strong relationship with this one, who has also created a theater guild, separate from anything, to support our theater program. And I am forever grateful for that.
So the Antigone is, in a way, indicative of many productions that have been staged at Hesston College, and we gave this as an extended example to kind of illustrate what is really important about what this this kind of work that we do. More shows coming, and pay attention to them, and to be continued. The show isn't done. It will go on at Hesston College, and we're grateful for that. Thank you for joining us today. Back to you, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Howard, Jim, Rachel, and Margaret. That was really, really fun. Thank you. And I want to thank our theater students for being here with us today. They helped plate your food, and they are, we're excited that they joined you for lunch and could talk with them. You could talk with them, and we just appreciate your help. And I have to say, I saw the play last night, and one of the students told me afterwards that that was the best production he's ever seen. So you need to go. And I do have to say that Stone gave me some nerve. I was so scared. I won't give anything away, but several times when Caroline went charging down the steps, I was like, oh, if that was me, I'd fall flat on my face or trip over a stone. So go see it. It's I wouldn't say lots of fun, but it is, they are very talented, and the guards bring a lot of humor to it. So anyway, go see the play, and thank you. And thank you to my team. I want to introduce them. We have Hillary Beeler, formerly Dick, and Woody Miller, or Forrest, Andrew Sharp, Mark Yoder, Leslie Gerber, and I want to thank Sarah Hadaway. She is our Marcom director and puts everything together for this weekend. Mackenzie is not in the room. She's our graphic designer, and she's done amazing work. Larry Bartle, who does all of our photographs and graciously does that. And of course, Russell and Ken. Thank you for providing music and AV. Am I forgetting anything? I want to introduce a couple of the administrative council who are here. Some of them have already had to leave, but we have Michael Smalley, VP of Student Life, and we have Joan Griffin, who is academic dean. And I think that's everyone. So thank you very much for joining us. Please enjoy the rest of the events today. We have the 3 sessions in Prep 120, which would include engineering, an update from our interim president, Ross Peterson Beach, who couldn't be here, but he will be there, I hope. And Biblit, which is what we call our biblical literature, which for some reason I can't say that, so maybe that's why we call it Biblit. That class is still required for all of our students who want to graduate from Hesston College, and our professors of Bible, who are also our campus pastors, Nick Ladd and Michelle Hirschberger, will be giving a class or a session on that to talk about what they teach in that class. So if you want to know what we teach about the Bible, please come to that session as well. And then we have the international dinner, the volleyball game, the play. We have lots of things all weekend, and I will not try to list them all because I tried to do that on the spot at formation, and I left some things out. So I won't do that, but we do have in your packets you do have a program. I want to thank Blue Stem U. They have a table out there. Check them out. We partner with them. And thank you, Everence, for being here. Thank you, Keegan. And I think that is the end of our program. We do have, where's slides? I forgot. And we do have a sending prayer. We have asked Carol Dirksen from the class of 1974 to send us off with a prayer. Thank you, Carol.
Woody specifically requested this be at least 5 minutes or more. But I told him, no, I don't think so. So we'll keep it shorter than that. Let's pray. God of generations, we find ourselves a bit puzzled that we are actually here, gathered as some of the older people at this Hesston homecoming weekend. How did time pass so fast? How did we get from walking this campus and sitting in the classrooms to returning so many years later? We did it because you are our God of many generations, and you have carried us through to this day. We thank you for the ways that Hesston College molded us for the years that followed, and we pray that this Hesston experience will continue for those who are part of the campus community now and in the years to come. We pray for your spirit to infuse this place and these people. We pray for the leadership and the search for a new president. We pray for peace in our nation and in the world. Show us how we can be peacemakers in a world so desperate for healing and hope. And now we hear these words of benediction and take them into our hearts. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.